Okay, we try another King's Indian attack this time. So we fine cat with the bishop and castle, so your king is very safe at the beginning of the game. Yeah, as you can see, our king is already in the castle position. Black needs like 2 moves to do so. And now we try to fight for the center. And we do this by supporting our pawn move to e4 by this bishop. If he takes now, we have exchanged the center pawn against the f pawn. So we have 2 pawns in the center now, and black just 1. So this is good for us. And we also have a semi-open f file. So yeah, I'm happy about this. I just need to take a little bit care about this diagonal. So if I play e4, e5 or so later, maybe this diagonal might be a weakness. So I would like to get my bishop maybe to e3. So now I will try to grab some space. And I think this knight has a very nice outpost here on e4. So I attack this pawn. I maybe can jump to this square later on. I can even think about sacrificing sooner or later here a knight. This knight, however, is also very strong, so I could maybe sooner or later play c4, although this pawn would be a weakness. I don't like this diagonal. He can play queen b6 maybe when I move the bishop here and attack the b2 and has some threats maybe playing c4. So I waste the tempo and move the king to h1. What I also want to do maybe is playing bishop f4, yeah, like in this position, because he attacks the e5 pawn, and if it takes here, I have an open g file. If he plays g5, I would sacrifice a piece, because the whole position of black would be, of the king would be open. And now you can see that it worked, the idea. I have a strong pawn now on e5, and the g file is open. Yeah, this knight attacks my knight on f3 and also potentially c2. But I think my development is almost finished, so it's time to attack. And the g file is the right place to do so. This is a good move, the good square for the knight, because it protects everything around here. But I think I will exchange this knight, either by bishop h3 and taking here, or maybe even trying to push the pawn up here to undermine the strong position of this knight. If I was able to play something like d5, exchanging here, or d6 even, but I think I can only dream about this. How can I proceed? I can double up the rooks. First I move to e2, and then I think next plan is to play bishop h3, and then I will double up the rooks here on the g file with a strong attack. And this is much too slow. This bishop, however, might be strong on this diagonal. So if he plays something like b5 or 6 and then the bishop on this diagonal, would be not that bad. So this is why I even try to close the diagonal a little bit more. Yeah, and this is, I think, okay. What he does is good. But now I already threatened to play bishop f5 and then taking here on g7. And if you play something like g6, this square on f6 would be very, very weak. Now black is lost because this bishop was very strong. On the other hand, you can say the knight was threatening to jump maybe to f6 already in this position, because if you move one back, f6 was possible because he can't take with the g pawn. But now I can take with this pawn, and the knight has to move, and afterwards the whole position of the black king is a disaster. So I take here,
check,
take here, and afterwards queen h5, and it's threatening a mate, and there's no way that black can defend.
checkmate.
So what you can learn in this game is, I think, that you should not always, but if it's possible and if it's reasonable, move your pawns to the center. So if we go back to the opening here in this position, I'm not sure about this move, or let's say it's even a little harsher. I think this is not a good move, because now I have 2 pawns in the center and black just 1, and he helped me to improve the position of the rook. Normally, like in this position, the rook is not doing that much, but it supports the pawn on f2. And one plan here in this position is to move away this knight, playing f4, maybe f5, exchanging the pawn here and f5, and then you have an open or semi-open file for the rook. But here, black just helped me, and the center is strong, and you can see that I can already kick away this knight, who was a defender of the king. This position, however, is also good for the knight, and I think the whole opening of black is not bad. He played good. Also, this square is a nice square for the knight. Here, however, I mean, he should quickly finish his development. b5 or b6, and then the bishop on this diagonal is a good move. Rook b8 is just too slow. And yeah, this was a tactical mistake. But the whole thing is that black helped me to strengthen my position by exchanging this pawn here and open the f file. And yeah, be careful by doing this. You should try to keep pawns in the center, and don't help your opponent to get an open file for your rooks without any force. So yeah, keep your pawns in the center.